in the quiet town of Lincoln, Massachusetts, October 24th, 1961, started as just another ordinary autumn day, but by the evening everything changed. Joan Risch, a 31-year-old mother of two, vanished from her home under circumstances so strange and unsettling that her story would haunt the community for decades. What began as a seemingly routine afternoon turned into a chilling mystery filled with puzzling clues, unanswered questions, and a sense of tragedy that continues to linger. Today we explore the haunting disappearance of Joan Risch, a case that refuses to be forgotten. Joan Risch appeared to be living a peaceful, content life. Married to her husband, Martin Risch, and raising their two children, she was the picture of suburban motherhood. But beneath this seemingly perfect surface, something unexplainable was brewing. On that fateful day, Joan's morning had been normal. She had spent time with her children, taking care of the household, and even visiting a neighbor around lunchtime. Everything seemed fine, routine, safe. But by 4 p.m., Joan was gone. Her neighbor, Barbara Barker, noticed something odd when Joan's 4-year-old daughter, Lillian, came over looking for her mother. Rushing to Joan's home, Barbara was met with an unsettling sight. The kitchen was in chaos, blood smeared on the walls, the phone ripped from the wall, and broken objects scattered around. Joan's son, a toddler, was still in his crib upstairs, unaware of the nightmare unfolding below. Where was Joan, and what could have happened in such a quiet, safe neighborhood? The scene inside Joan's house painted a disturbing picture. Blood was found smeared across the kitchen, on the walls, the floor, the phone. Investigators soon determined it was Joan's blood, type O. Yet, despite the chaos, the amount of blood wasn't enough to suggest a fatal injury. What haunted investigators was the pattern of the bloodstains. They seemed to form a trail, one that led from the kitchen through the house and toward the driveway. Could Joan have been injured or perhaps attacked, and then somehow managed to leave the house on her own, or was she dragged away, unable to fight back? As detectives dug deeper, they found something even more unsettling in Joan's background. Her library records showed a pattern of checking out books on crime, disappearances, and murder mysteries. In the months leading up to her vanishing, Joan had read stories about women who had mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind little to no trace. Could this be a coincidence? Or had Joan been planning something? Perhaps the most chilling question, was Joan rehearsing her own disappearance? Her sudden vanishing and the eerie similarities between her life and the stories she'd been reading shook investigators to their core. The investigation didn't turn up any clear suspects, but there were a few troubling possibilities. 1. Martin Risch, husband. Joan's husband, Martin, was out of town on a business trip that day, and by all accounts his alibi checked out, but no stone was left unturned. Detectives thoroughly questioned him, hoping to find a crack in his story. However, nothing pointed to his involvement, and he seemed as devastated and confused as everyone else. 2. The mysterious car. Multiple neighbors reported seeing an unfamiliar car parked near the Risch home that afternoon. Some claimed to have seen a woman, perhaps Joan, stumbling along the road, blood on her legs, appearing dazed and disoriented. Could this woman have been Joan trying to escape? Or was it someone else entirely? Despite these sightings, no car or woman matching the descriptions was ever found. 3. The stranger theory. Given the signs of a struggle in the house, many believed Joan might have been attacked by a stranger, but there were no signs of forced entry, no witnesses who saw anything out of the ordinary. It was as if Joan had vanished into thin air, leaving only confusion and grief in her wake.
Over the years, there have been a few scattered reports of women resembling Joan being spotted, but none ever led to her discovery. One report from New York described a woman who looked like Joan, walking alone, seemingly in a daze, but by the time investigators arrived, she was gone. These sightings, while hopeful, only added to the heartache of a family desperate for answers. The blood, the disarray in the kitchen, the mysterious car, everything seemed to suggest that Joan had been a victim of foul play. Some detectives believed she had been abducted, possibly murdered. But without a body or conclusive evidence, these theories remained just that, theories. The sense of something terrible having happened was palpable, yet the truth remained elusive. A quieter, yet equally heartbreaking theory emerged over time: could Joan have left on her own? Was her interest in crime books and disappearances a sign of something deeper? Joan had suffered traumatic loss as a child. Her parents had died in a fire when she was just 9. Some speculated that the weight of her past and the pressures of her current life might have driven her to stage her own disappearance. But if that was the case, where did she go? How did she survive? And why had she never contacted her family? These questions hang in the air, unanswered, echoing through the decades. Joan Risch's disappearance is a mystery that defies explanation, an unsolved puzzle that has gripped generations of investigators and true crime enthusiasts alike. Her family was left with an agonizing emptiness, her children growing up with memories of a mother they lost too soon. Was Joan the victim of a violent crime, or did she choose to leave behind everything she knew? The bloodstains, the strange car, the ominous library books, each clue only adds to the uncertainty. The answers to what happened to Joan Risch remain hidden in the shadows of that autumn afternoon, locked away forever, leaving behind only the haunting sense of something terribly, terribly wrong.